Welcome to the DSM podcast. My name is Brendan Burns. I am here with members of the Ultimate Frisbee team. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Coach Place, assistant varsity coach.
I'm August Waller, just a senior on the Ultimate team.
Coach Sampson, assistant coach, head coach of the JV guys.
All right. Welcome, guys. I'm also part of JV squad. Just want to mention that. JV Ultimate squad. So here we're going to talk about the Indiana trip that the Ultimate team was recently just on. So
Yeah.
how was it?
I tell you, it was fun. First time we traveled in a couple of years, and it was great to get the squads back out of town, out of state. It's part of something that we've always enjoyed about our program, getting to do that, and we had a pretty good weekend. We were, yes, I don't know, Samson, you might want to talk about this too a little bit, but we got to make a big choice early as we were going into the tourney if we wanted to bring one kind of combined team or if we were going to split into two. You want to talk about just kind of the thought process there?
Yeah, so we typically bring two teams to tournaments with the emphasis of not only doing well, but getting a lot of guys experience and time on the field and touching the disc and really trying to level up guys experience-wise and skill-wise in a way that is very different than they're able to in just the typical season in St. Louis. So it was awesome. It's as a former and current player, and Coach Place is the same. It's really cool to see guys get that playing experience out of town, but also kind of feel the rhythm and the grind that a tournament is sometimes. We'd split the teams up, and we really only had 10 or 11 guys per team, and 7 play at a time on a field. And when you play 6 games, 7 games in a weekend, that's going to make you really tired. So I was proud of the way the guys kind of fought through it.
And certainly that meant that we saw some natural diminishing marginal returns over the course of the weekend, just as guys were they kept battling, even as it's just hard not to get tired.
That's a very complicated way of saying guys got tired and sore, and we were running slower and not playing quite as well later in the tournament as we normally do.
Yeah. But like Samson said, it was really a cool moment for guys to realize, like, all right, we're going to push through, we're going to keep going, and a lot of guys got a lot better. August, do you want to talk about the experience of kind of again, we had sometimes at the end there we had 9 guys, 10 guys playing sometimes.
Yeah, so it was a really great, huge learning experience and ton of development. Like Coach Place said, we had 9 guys at one point, and that meant we had to throw in kind of our younger, not as experienced players, but as far as they did, I think they did fine. I think a lot of growth happened, and we definitely got better.
Yeah. All right. I just want to point this out. I did a little bit of research on one of the teams there, that Pi team that the varsity played. I read that they were national champions, and our varsity was able to hold up with them. That's very impressive, especially for the program.
Yeah, I don't remember. Do you remember what year that would have been?
I think it was last year because I remember reading something on the Ultimate website about Pi and the fact that they also had on their roster like a 5th grader and like middle schoolers on that team.
Yeah,
they were really good.
They were. They've got, so they're a kind of collective of homeschooled kids from the Lexington area, which you want to be like, oh wow, that sounds pretty dorky. But what it's meant is that they've got this cool program that they develop these kids since, like you said, 5th grade. So on the sideline were all these little dudes who were they were watching all their junior and high school friends kind of play, and they're starting to play the sport way earlier than any of our guys. Certainly, I mean, most of SMEC guys don't even really think about Frisbee until we kind of talk to them about it freshman year. St. Louis isn't an area where we have a lot of opportunity to play before high school, so.
Yep. All right, so for the JV squad, Mr. Sampson, how do you think the tournament was for us as like the JV was? Especially playing against some of the best teams. First game was against the number 1 seed, Center Grove High School.
Right. That was a difficult first game for us. A nice taste of kind of what a nationally top tier kind of program can be. It's funny when we go to tournaments and bring the JV team, there's such an emphasis on development and growth, and you have to have these conversations of setting the expectation high, but knowing that we're probably not going to come out with a winning record. And that's hard for guys. That's hard for me sometimes because I'm pretty competitive. I know sometimes it doesn't seem like that, but when I play on the field, I'm very, very competitive.
Oh, indeed.
But yeah, Coach Place knows. But I think what I'm kind of bringing away from the JV weekend was personally, and what I noticed with we have so many new players on the JV level, that there was this joy in competing and people smiling and laughing. And don't get me wrong, running hard and taking it very seriously and being upset when we screw up and like all of that normal athletic stuff. But I'm thinking of, I don't know, new players like Colby Quinn, for instance, who made a couple really cool plays, but the dude was just smiling the whole weekend, and that's just one of many guys on the team that were smiling the whole weekend. And that's something I want to be a part of for a long time.
All right.
Well, we even had some dudes on the varsity squad that this was their first tournament ever.
You had a couple guys on the varsity squad that it was like maybe their second or third game.
Remember?
Which is crazy.
I mean, a senior like Jackson Hogan coming out, and he worked really hard. I think this fall he wanted to play. He was working on his throws, but like the game speed was really high this weekend. The games are big. He was like, wow, this is much different than what we were doing out on the north field in the fall, playing 3-on-3. Eric Wilson, I think he felt like I felt like he just became a soccer player. He's like, I'm just gonna play soccer with this frisbee, I think, because he certainly was ready to go for legs, but still learning the game a little bit, right? So it was even neat up there.
Yeah.
All right. August, do you have anything to add about Indiana?
Especially with those young guys. Some of the older guys, I was definitely feeling a little bit of frustration, but then you kind of take a step back and you start to look and, say, these guys don't even have a year of experience. And it's definitely understandable because I was for sure there at one point.
What was it like for you as a player? Because, I mean, when you were a freshman, we went to Chicago when you were on the JV team, and that got snowed out, and then COVID, and then nothing last year. So it was really your first taste of like us asking you to kind of run the show with some other guys, right? But so how was that experience for you, do you think?
It was great. I really hadn't noticed the level of influence that I had on the younger guys, and even the level of influence I had on my teammates. If I start to do something, if I lead warm-ups, they'll sort of follow me, and they'll start to gain that experience.
You came, I remember you were, like Brennan was talking about like the 5th graders on the Pi team. I remember because Huxley was playing with us, like you came to some tournaments was that your 7th grade year, 8th grade year maybe?
Yeah, probably 7th grade.
So you were kind of that like, 5th grader, on the Pi sideline. You're like, okay, hey, you knew what you were getting yourself into, because like, even, guys, Ethan, Jack, Bruntz, like, Samson's right. We didn't have many tournaments because of COVID, because of, like, everything getting shut down the last couple of years. So you were a little bit more ready, I think, for, like, tourney time than maybe even some of the other seniors,
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's something pretty different, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is.
Sure is.
All right. And last question. What do you hope to accomplish this season, varsity and JV side? Like, are we aiming for state, or are we just aiming to have a good winning record?
So I'll kind of hop in first from the JV side, let you think for a second. Typically, the goal for our JV team is to play in the top tier, the A division. So we play primarily other schools' varsity programs. we think that's the way that we can help our guys develop and get better the best. So we never have a typical like, oh, we want to finish third in state, or we typically don't have that kind of goal. I think an unspoken goal on the JV team is to always be playing in the quarterfinals at state, and then see where the chips fall once that happens. So as far as like placement for JV, that's definitely it. As far as development goes, we want our JV players to be ready to make a contribution on the field immediately when they get called up to the varsity level. And whether that's when they're a senior, a junior, a sophomore, we want to give them the opportunities to have the experiences so that when they get to the varsity level and the expectations are higher, that they are ready to meet those expectations right away.
All right.
I think in terms of varsity goals, obviously every year winning state is a goal. And in terms of like an end goal, that's always a cool one. We always are obviously shooting for that. We weren't as clear about what was going to be happening nationally, because sometimes we have national goals in terms of like, hey, we want to make sure that we, are ranked nationally. That situation was just a little murkier kind of going into the season. So I think kind of we primarily have focused on state. And yeah, heck yeah, we want to win state this year. I think the process goal, though, that we're mindful of is like we have a program that has worked. I mean, the results speak for themselves, but like we have a program that's worked over the last 10 years, and some of that program has kind of gotten short-circuited because of COVID. Going to tournaments and guys getting like that amount of experience, building kind of our culture. It's just had to be, we haven't been able to do normal stuff over the last couple of years. So I think getting that culture back is another big part of the goal. And this year already getting to get back out in the fall, going to a tournament. I mean, those things have, I think, kind of helped reignite like the passion for the sport in our guys a little bit. And so, yeah, I think at the same, like we want to win state this year, but we recognize we're coming from a little bit different spot this year than we were the last couple of years. Like the last couple of years we won because of kind of the COVID break, if that's fair. Do you want to add to that, August?
Yeah, I'd definitely say the same thing. With COVID happening obviously last year, I think the team has been a little bit switched up. We are starting to play with some sophomores and even throwing some freshmen in the mix. And I think for them, it's really important to just get experience under their belt. And when, the season comes back to normal, eventually those sophomores and those freshmen do step up and take that lead position.
Yeah, don't get us wrong. We like being on the top of the mountain, right? And the goal is to always stay on the top of the mountain. But we understand that it's not a foregone conclusion that we're there all the time, right? That guys do put in a lot of work to keep this thing going, which is really, really cool to see.
Yeah. And we're trying to do it this year without some of the work that guys have been traditionally been able to do as sophomores and juniors, Waller's going to try to win state this year after 2 years of kind of not getting to play Frisbee. So it's just a little different, isn't it? Yeah.
All right. Any games coming up for either side? Because I know there's been a lot of rescheduling going on because of the weather recently.
Yeah. Oh man, we got a good little slog of games coming up before Easter. Varsity and JV are both playing on Sunday. JV's taking on Clayton. Varsity's taking on Lindbergh. JV plays against CBC at home on Monday. Varsity has a big game against Priory at home on Monday. So that'll be an awesome opportunity for if anyone in the community wants to see good games. Those would be good games. Then JV's got a game on Tuesday, and Varsity's got a game on Wednesday. So I mean, it's gonna kind of sprint to the finish here. But definitely Monday's a big day for our program.
All right.
And then the last weekend in April 30th and May 1st, right, is our state tourney I think out in the Chesterfield Valley fields. So, yeah, put that on the calendars too, boys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll be back with hearing from some more of our spring sports. Welcome back to the DSM podcast to hear from more of our spring sport athletes. Here with
Kyle Granquist, I play lacrosse.
Tommy Ashberger, I'm on the tennis team.
Nick Panagas, play baseball.
All right. We'll start with Kyle here. Kyle, would you like to talk about the lacrosse team's big Marco Cup win over the weekend?
Yeah, we just played SLU in the 17th annual Marco Cup. Always a big rivalry game, being both Jesuit schools. We were able to come out on top 10-5. Kind of a roller coaster of a game. We didn't come out that hot, but finished the second half really well, and then third quarter probably didn't play our best, and then was able to secure the win. So we lost the cup last year, but it's super important that we won it this year, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So another thing I want to talk about is, didn't the lacrosse team recently in the beginning of the season play against a team outside of Missouri from, what was it, Michigan?
Yeah, so our first game was against a team from Wisconsin,
Okay.
who was pretty good, and then we played Vianney, and then we played two out-of-state teams in Kansas City as well.
So those have been pretty good?
Yeah, that was definitely some of the best competition we'll see this season. So it's pretty good, to start with our first game like that. We lost, but it was definitely like a kind of a wake-up call, which we needed.
All right. Now, who would you say lacrosse's biggest rivalries this year is going to be? Like the biggest competition we will probably have?
Probably MICDS or Chaminade. They're both, two of the top programs in the state. We just lost to MICDS, but I think they're a beatable team. We just got to play a better game.
Yeah. Especially after last year when the lacrosse team beat them.
Right.
After they were undefeated by a St. Louis team for 7 years.
Yeah, 99-game win streak against St. Louis teams that we were able to break, but we weren't able to beat them in the state championship. So that's going to be the focus this year.
All right. I'm going to switch it over to Tommy for a little bit of tennis. How has this season been going so far for you, Tommy?
So yeah, for me, I'm definitely trying to play a bit better than last year. I've had a bit of struggle with that, but trying to get in some weekend time, trying to get better over there. Overall, the team's gotten a lot better, though. We've got a pretty stacked varsity right now. We're 3-2. Went against Principia recently, 8-1. It would have been 9-0, but a guy got injured, so we had to have a guy play in for him. And then, from there, I think we're looking to have a good season. We have a lot of good players. Yeah.
All right. So are you part of a single or a double? How does that work? Explain
Yeah,
that.
so for tennis, we've got Varsity, who plays a doubles game and a singles game. There's 3 varsity doubles, and there's 6 varsity singles. So there's usually top 6 guys. Some guys might come up from JV for doubles or singles, depending on what their strong suit is. Me personally, I'm a better singles player. But you get someone like Mateo O'Leary, a freshman. He's pretty good on doubles.
All right. And then any games coming up?
We've got the Alden Tournament coming up this weekend. It's a pretty big one that we've done well at in the past few years. Recently, because of COVID and rain, it's gotten rained out the past 2 years. But freshman year, we did really well. And I think we've got some good hope for doing well this year.
All right. Thank you, Tommy.
Yep.
We'll switch to Jake. Jake, how has the baseball season been going so far?
It's been going good. We're sitting right around 500. We've lost a couple games that maybe we wish we could have had back, but I think we're going in a positive direction for the rest of the season.
That's good. Would you say the team this year is pretty young compared to some other years? Because I know there's a lot of juniors on the team this year.
Yeah, I think it's probably ranging around what it usually is. We have, I think, 9 or 10 seniors, and then the rest are juniors. We have 2 sophomores and then a couple that swing JV varsity depending on like the pitching we need. But I think it's a pretty balanced core with I'd say probably the heavier population being a younger crowd.
All right. And you are committed to play college baseball at, remind me, what college is it again?
Drury University down
Drury.
in Springfield.
All right. They're a pretty good program, right?
Yeah, they're having a great season right now. They're off to a great start. Coach Nasby doing good things down in Springfield. Yeah, it's a great program. I'm looking forward to the next 4 years there.
All right. Wait, Kyle, I forgot to mention, you're committed too somewhere, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm be playing lacrosse at Center College
Center
next
College.
year.
All right. And any big games coming up for you in baseball?
We still have 2 MCC teams we haven't played yet. We have a 2-game series against Chaminade and a 2-game series against SLU. Those are definitely both must-win games. We're 2-2 in the MCC right now, and those tend to be the games we get most fired up for and try to bring home the most.
All right. Any expectations for you guys? I know you all want to win state for everything, bring home some trophies for Spartan Country, but what do you guys all hope to accomplish this season, like overall, like personal growth or for your teams? I know you guys kind of are leaders on the teams, being seniors. So,
I mean, you want personal or team?
I mean, it can be either. You can talk about
Personally, I want to be first team All State. That's a goal I've always had. Team wise, I think it's got to be a state championship. We've been to the final every year that I've been here, except for sophomore year, which was our season was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at this point, it's like not even will we get there; it's we have to win. So.
All right, Tommy.
Yeah, for us, I think the biggest goal is probably this upcoming MCC tournament. I think we've got a good shot in it. You know, like Nick was saying, we've got all the MCC rivals, and I think Chaminade's going to be our biggest competition there, really trying to beat them in that first or second round to get to the finals and take home some first places. Overall, as a team, though, we're pretty stacked on seniors. Our top 4 is all seniors, so definitely developing some leadership among the younger guys, getting them to step up into that number 1, 2, 3, 4 positions.
All right.
I think the biggest thing for us is just doing the things that we can control. We want to start by winning the little things, whether it's like a tournament we're in or the MCC, which is going to be tough because we already dropped 2 to CBC. They got a great program over there. And then districts, and then hopefully making a run to state. I mean, our district, it's got some good competition in there, but we lost in the finals last year, district finals, and hopefully we're good enough to bring that one back this year.
All right.
That was a close game, wasn't it?
Yeah, we lost to CBC in extras last year. It was a tough game. We were ahead 1-0 the entire game, and then last inning, bases loaded, walked a run in, and then went into extras, and they walked it off on us. So it's kind of a tough one to swallow, but hopefully we can bounce back this year.
No doubt.
Yep. That's all the questions I've got. So
I got a question for Tommy. So
Okay.
in tennis, so you play 9, right? 6
Yeah.
singles and 3 doubles. So is it the winner of the meet, just who wins the most out of the 9?
Yeah, so everything is stacked up the same. So 3 games of doubles, 6 games of singles. So the first team to win 5 total, they'll win the match for that
Okay.
thing. So
Do you play all 9 no matter what? Like if you win the first 5, is it just over or?
For districts, you'll just play whoever gets to 5 first wins because, you're playing a game every day to try to get to state quickly. But for a regular season game, you'll play all the games, or you'll get all the games in just to get the guys some practice, some games, whatever's going on there.
Who are the best tennis programs?
So, the best ones are probably some of the bigger public schools or like the Priory won state last year first in singles, first in doubles. We recently played them, lost 7-2, but a few close games in there. Henry Newhouse definitely stepped up, and I think we had a pretty good competition against them. I think we're looking good against them there.
Nice. Kyle, I forgot to mention this to you. Do you have any big games coming up?
We have at the end of April, early May, we have CBC. We have Ladue senior night, which is big. We travel to Indiana next weekend to play two of the top programs in their state. So that should be good. But as far as home games, we have Ladue and then CBC our last game. So.
All right. CBC's pretty good this year, aren't they?
Yeah, they have a young program. They have an attackman, Jake Mitchell, who's been really dominant. But they're they're very strong in some areas and not as strong in other areas. So
Yeah.
should be good.
Yeah. Should be really good games for every
No doubt.
single team here. Any other things you guys want to say? All right. I guess we'll end it here. So, I'm Brendan Burns. You're with me.
Kyle Granquist.
Tommy Ashbarger.
Nick Penelagis.
And we're out.